Chapter 1. In the Name of God. In many parts of Africa, the church is more than a sanctuary. It is a school, a hospital, a courtroom, and sometimes the last hope for the hopeless. Yet, behind the stained glass promises and the roaring sermons lies a growing darkness. A darkness where faith has become a weapon, where pulpits turn into stages of manipulation, where pastors no longer save lives, they control them. This is not religion. This is cultism wearing a holy robe. This is the story of the cult churches of Africa. The rise of the charismatic commanders. Africa's spiritual hunger is deep, born of centuries of colonization, pain, poverty, and prayer. When Western missionaries first came, they introduced European Christianity. But soon, Africans made it their own, and a new breed of preacher was born, the charismatic prophet. He didn't read from dusty theology books. He didn't wear long robes and chant in Latin. He wore designer suits, drove Range Rovers, and pointed at demons hiding in people's problems. He didn't explain scripture. He commanded miracles. Come out! Receive your blessing! Touch the screen and be healed! The crowds grew, the money flowed, and the prophet rose like a king among the poor. How it works: control by faith. In the cult church model, God is no longer the center. The pastor is. Here's how the manipulation happens. 1. Absolute authority. The pastor claims to speak directly with God. His word cannot be questioned. If you do, you are rebelling against God. Some declare themselves God's only voice on earth. Touch not the anointed, they scream, not realizing it's being used as a shield for abuse. 2. Financial exploitation. The seed principle teaches that you must sow money to receive blessings. Poor people are told, give your salary, give your house, sell your car, take a loan for the church. Those who don't give are publicly shamed. Yet the pastor builds mansions and buys private jets. One Nigerian prophet was estimated to make over $5 million a month from miracle seed offerings. 3. Miracle manipulation. Fake healing, staged prophecies, and miracle performances are rehearsed and choreographed. Crutches thrown away by hired actors, demons, cast out by people paid to scream and fall, cancer cured on stage, but no hospital record to prove it. They claim to raise the dead, stop HIV, and even change exam results. 4. Emotional and psychological isolation. Victims are cut off from family. They are told, your family is against your blessing. Stay away from unbelievers. Trust only your spiritual father. This creates deep dependency on the pastor, spiritually, emotionally, and sometimes sexually. Case study: the fasting deaths in Shakahola. Location: Kilifi County, Kenya. Year: 2023. Church: Good News, International Ministry Leader, Pastor Paul Mackenzie. What began as fasting soon turned into starvation. Mackenzie told his followers that Jesus would come for them if they died fasting. Mothers watched their children starve. Husbands buried wives. Entire families disappeared into shallow graves. When police entered the compound, they found over 400 dead. Mass graves, skeletons, notes that read, "Do not eat, Jesus is near." Some victims were found chained. Others showed signs of blunt trauma. It wasn't just starvation, it was murder, in the name of faith. One survivor whispered, "We were told our death was the only path to heaven." Mackenzie is now in custody, but the damage is done. The world watched in horror, asking, how did nobody stop this? The government looked away. In many countries, pastors are powerful, politicians fear them, police salute them, and when whistleblowers try to speak, they are silenced. The laws protecting religion are often used as shields to block investigations. Victims are called faithless or backsliders. The government fears a war with the church, especially during elections. In Nigeria, Ghana, Uganda, Kenya, South Africa, cultic churches operate almost untouchable. Some even own TV stations, radio empires, and private security. Chapter 2. The Gospel of Greed. Section 1. A prosperity message in a poor land. In many parts of Africa, poverty is not just a statistic. It is a daily prison. Yet in the middle of these desperate towns, churches rise like empires. Some even have more branches than schools. At the pulpit, preachers shout promises. You are not poor, you just haven't sown enough. This is the prosperity gospel, a belief that giving money to the church, especially to the man of God, will bring you riches, healing, and success. But behind this gospel of wealth is a darker truth. It is only the pastor who gets richer. Section 2. Tithe or die trying. In one Ghanaian church, believers were told that refusing to tithe would bring curses upon their children. In parts of Nigeria, women report being publicly shamed for stealing from God because they couldn't afford to give. In Kenya, a 63-year-old widow sold her only goat to plant a seed so her son could get a job. The son remained jobless. The pastor bought a new car. These are not isolated cases. This is the theology of extortion, disguised in silk suits and televangelist smiles. Section 3. Preachers of palaces. The faces of this movement are men and women who wear diamonds on their collars. Bishop David Oyedepo in Nigeria, one of the wealthiest pastors in the world, owns a private jet and a multi-million-dollar church complex, all tax-free. Prophet Shepherd Bushiri from Malawi built a multi-million rand empire before fleeing South Africa under charges of fraud and money laundering. And then there are the unnamed ones, scattered across Uganda, Zambia, DR Congo, Tanzania, who promise heaven for a price. Section 4. When church becomes business. These churches don't sell hope. They market miracles. For a fee. Congregations are structured like pyramid schemes. The more you give, the closer you get to the man of God. Those who ask questions are called faithless or agents of Satan. Some churches even sell anointed oils, cloths, pens, and waters, all guaranteed to bring breakthrough. Never mind that the people buying them have to skip meals. Example products: Anointed Business Success Pen, Miracle Job Soap, Fasting Breakthrough Oil. Section 5. Dangers of disillusionment. But what happens when the miracles don't come? When the sick die, the poor stay poor, and the promised jobs never arrive. Many lose their faith. Others lose their lives. Some have committed suicide after selling all they had and receiving nothing. Others were told their problems were due to lack of faith, and that they needed to give even more. There are reports of pastors telling cancer patients to stop chemo and just believe. Some women with fertility issues were told to sow their womb, meaning give everything they owned. Section 6. Voices from inside. Former Pastor Emmanuel, Nigeria. We were trained to manipulate emotions. You stir the crowd, make them cry, then ask for seed. That's the formula. Survivor Judith, Kenya. I gave until I couldn't pay rent. When I told the pastor, he said God was testing my faith. These stories are common, but they are rarely told on stage. Section 7. Governments that turn a blind eye. Despite hundreds of complaints and criminal cases, many governments in Africa refuse to act. Why? Many politicians are regular attendees of these churches. Some receive endorsements during campaigns. Investigating a pastor often leads to public backlash, even death threats. Even police often fear or revere these preachers. In Zambia, a former inspector general of police refused to investigate a preacher accused of rape, saying, "I cannot touch a man of God." Section 8. A culture of silence. In African society, questioning religion is considered taboo. To speak against a pastor is seen as inviting a curse. Even families divide over church loyalty. Children are disowned. Women are abandoned. Businesses collapse because employees refuse to tithe. Church has become identity, Not just belief. Epilogue. The gospel of truth. Not all churches are guilty. Not all preachers are predators. But when church becomes commerce and faith becomes financial slavery, the Spirit of God is lost, replaced by the spirit of greed.